Good day, everyone. Man, let's just jump into it. My name is CJ Reynolds. I'm coming at you with a little bit of different energy today. My name is CJ Reynolds, and if you've not been here before, I run this YouTube channel called Real Rap with Reynolds. And the whole idea behind that real rap is real talk about, in this case, education, and all things education. So those aren't just things that are education. Baby, you gotta leave that door open because of the internet. So it is what we're trying to do here is create a safe space for teachers to go into school tomorrow, to be the best teachers that they can be. And so we've created a lot of different pieces around that. So it's like the book and the podcast and resources and thank you very much. Appreciate it. Things of that nature to just try and help teachers be the best that they can be. And so I want to talk real quick before we get started. If you have a question, please put it in the chat. You can put question or the word or the letter Q next to it, and that'll let us know. And then don't be weirded out if like a whole bunch of people, like if John Lopez starts spitting knowledge to you like in the chat, like that's how we do here. So if you have if you read someone else's question, you see a comment, you see something that you think you can speak to, please, like by all means, use your what you have been given to share with others in hopes that that might help them find an answer going forward too. So so we're 4 weeks in, 5 weeks in, something like that. We start right after Labor Day. This is hands down the most difficult school year that I've ever had. I've had a lot of really bad things happen before, and like people leave like mid-year, like co-teachers like just leave. Like I've had that happen many times. But for a lot of reasons that I can't go into, I will say that just hands down hardest year, like school year I've ever taught, like in September. And that kind of came to a head the other day. And what I want to share with you is sharing with you because I know a lot of other people might be feeling this way, and so I don't want to keep my own stuff to myself. Now, again, I don't want to like badmouth anyone. I don't want to like, there's no one's character that I want to particularly go after or something like that. Like, because it's just not nice. And I still have a job, but school, I'll say this. So we have, we were told in the beginning of the school year this year, in the first presentation to bring us back, maybe the first slide that was put up on the wall was something that said, "You will be stressed. We're going to stress you out." That's what we were told. We're going to stress you out because our school, in the mind of some, is here. Used to be here. Now it's here. And we need to get it back to that and beyond. And so the way that we're going to do that is by stressing you out to kind of like, we want you to do the best work possible. So we're going to put all of these things in place so that now you're going to feel stressed and we're there with you, but we're going to push you. And I think in a year when 4 students now in the last 12 months have been shot and killed, another student died of medical issue, and then something like 60% of our staff didn't return this year. In a year where students have not been in school at our school for a year and a half, to put an overwhelming amount of new stuff on teachers to the point where about a dozen teachers, and we only have a school of about less than 500 students. So like, I don't even know how many staff we have, but it's not that many. A dozen teachers have quit since the beginning of the year. 3 people last week alone put in their resignation. So we might be over a dozen now. And things are at a point where like, even I am stressed. Like I wake up in the morning, I do my morning routine, and I do the things that I do. I all these things that I preach, I practice. But every day at school feels like you're getting kicked in the stomach. And in reality, the students, like when I sit back and look, I have one class that's difficult, that they're just like, it's not anything like even really egregious. It's just like being 9th grade and not having been in school for a year and a half. And like, this is how you're acting. But when I look at my students and I go, no, this should be a great year. and it's not for 100 other reasons, because there's all this stuff on top of me that I can't deal. Like, there's not enough time in the day to deal with, is overwhelming. Things came to a head on Friday, and I walked out of school early. I didn't have any other classes. I had off my 8th period, and I just felt like it was best for my mental health. So for me to just leave so that I would shut my mouth and not say or do something that was going to get me in trouble. So I say this, look, the reason I even bring this up is because I know that many of you, I've seen it in the comments, I've seen it in the Facebook group, I've seen it just people posting on social media, that this is a really difficult year for everyone. And I think that, I've talked about this before, but there's this false idea that those of us that are on social media are like, things are just great and they go really well all the time. It's not true. But I will tell you this, that even in the midst of this, and I'm not going to Pollyanna this thing, like I'm not making that pivot, Chris Carson. I'm thinking like there is a way out of this. Like there is a solution to the problem. There is an answer to what's happening right now. Now, whether that is for my school or just for me, I don't know. I know the for me one is there, but it is incredibly difficult to deal with at the moment. And so I just kind of, the reason I kind of wanted to note this was to sort of like, because I want you to be a part of the process. I just want you to be like, I think that being a part of the process, knowing these things will eventually help people. So look, it's about learning how to have difficult conversations with yourself and with others. It's about having boundaries and really holding them. But it has been hands down, like I've seen more people publicly cry at school, like teachers publicly sobbing in the hallways, on the steps, in their classroom, in the hallway, than I have ever seen before. And I think that, look, bottom line, I mean, and then I'll get into some questions. I think that if we don't care for ourselves, no one is going to do it for you. They're not going to do it at the level that you need it. Anyway, someone might bring you a flower or get you a cup of coffee. Someone might listen to you. They might buy you a drink. But no one's going to care for you on the level that is necessary for you to heal, for you to grow. You have to do that for yourself. And so right now it's about me figuring that out. Like, I need to take my own advice on that, right? Like I also probably just need to listen to my wife a lot more in my life, but like,
when you say that aloud here for everyone to hear, just confirm, because then I get to hold you to that.
you should, because the fact that matter is that sometimes the people outside of us, like, we don't want to listen to their advice. We don't want to listen to what they have to say, but they just know better than we do, because they're not in the middle of it. Like, you're in the washing machine with the dirty laundry right now going like this, and someone else is looking through the top. They have one of those nice ones that you can see, and they're like, shit's going wrong here. And I can give you some feedback on how to deal with that. So anyway, that's where we're starting from today. A little bit of a different note than, I only like to be fun and positive and optimistic, but sometimes life punches you in the teeth, man. And then you got to figure out what you're going to do next. I think that was a Mike Tyson quote. What you got, buddy?
You are definitely feeling that today, huh? Okay, we're going to skip around for people who are here consistently. I usually go in order, but what I'm finding is we can't get past 20 minutes, and there's been some really great questions that we don't get to. So I'm going to skip around today, and we'll see. And so sorry if I don't get to your question, but to be fair, I'm just going to try and skip around for everyone. Okay, so our first one is coming from Hannah. She says, question, back from fall break tomorrow. My behavior management fell apart at the end of the first quarter. How do you come back from a break, reteaching expectations and holding high school students more accountable?
I love it. This is such a great question. It's so important. And I want you to know that this happens for everyone. That, like, to my knowledge, there's no like classroom management plan that just works. And sometimes, look, Hannah, it just doesn't work fast, but it doesn't mean it doesn't work. Sometimes things just take longer. So you could lose a whole bunch of weight by just fasting, right? You could literally just starve yourself and be like, nah, I'm on that diet. I'm just gonna not eat anything. Or you could do it in a way that's gonna be far less painful, because I don't know if anyone's ever fasted out there or tried to go on keto or do a juice cleanse or something, but it sucks and it's physically painful. Wife can tell you about that one, but but there are other ways to do it that might take longer, but they are far less intense, crazy, spastic to do it. So I think it is about figuring out, so welcoming kids back in a way that is, I'm glad you're back. I need to reiterate as much as possible that I love this job and that I'm here for you and your success is all that I want. That's what you really, really need to focus on. And when we're doing that, that's going to already set the tone, a different tone than like kids coming back and be like, listen, things didn't go so well first quarter. We're going to crack down. We're cracking down this week. We're going to get to it. Now, look, you can still crack down. You can do it with a smile. You can do it with not letting kids know that they're getting to you, which is what I do all the time. And so here's what that could look like. I suggest that when students are coming back, you're very clear on the handful of things that you want to work on first. Right here, I can move this, love.
I need a pen.
Oh, I have a pen here for you too. I would look at the handful of things that you need to do first. So maybe that's, for me, like if I'm having classroom management issues, so I have this one class right now that is having a very difficult time settling in, getting work done, and ultimately finding success in the classroom. So if I were to come back, I would say, I need students to come in, to get in their seats, and to know at least what we're going to do next. So even if you're still talking, that's fine, but it's the moving around, it's the shifting desks, it's the moving my stuff, it's the touching one another, that needs to come to an end. So that's going to take very clear attention on my hand. So what I would do, and what I've done, is you come in, the do now is on the board. Do now for me is, what are you doing now to get ready for when the bell rings and class starts? So you can still be talking, but if it says put your homework on your desk and take your note cards out, then I need that done by the time the bell rings. I'll then give kids 30 seconds because, to be honest, like some kids are late coming to class, or they didn't get there on time, or they can't find their stuff. All right, y'all, you have 30 seconds before I move on. I need these two things on your desk. If you have a hard time, if you need another copy, if you need something, in that 30 seconds is when you should ask. After that 30 seconds, I will no longer address that concern and I will move on with the day. So now we have 30 seconds to get this stuff on our desk. And then I immediately start, right? So some classes I use an actual counter on the board. Some classes I don't, because it makes kids anxious. And for some of my I hate calling them low level guys. For some of my, I would just refer to them as special flowers. So like some of my special flower classes, like they're just dudes that they just need something a little bit different, right? Like that. And what I want to do is not freak you out with the timer, right? Because I know that your processing speed or your recall as to where you put your note cards the last time, even though I told you to put them in a weird place in your backpack that you never use for anything else so that you can find them every single time, you forget where that weird place was. I'm not trying to freak anybody out, right? But for the guys that have that recall, right, I can push them in that way. You have 60 seconds or 30 seconds to find your stuff. Then we get started. If we're doing vocab words, which is every Monday, right? 5 new vocab words. That's all I do is just 5. Now we have 60 seconds to write the word on one side of a card, definition on the other. And I could make a whole video on why I do what I do, but for the sake of time right now, you have 60 seconds. If you're not done in 60 seconds, and now look, I'm watching dudes while we're doing this, right? So I'm seeing if I have students that just write really slow. You can tell that they really need things neat. Their whole desk is neat. Their card is neat. They're turning it over in a very neat way. I'll watch those dudes. And if they need more than 60 seconds, I wait. But if you're talking, if you're off task, if you're doing something else, I do not wait for you, right? So then I move on to the next one, because what happens is you lose your class in that time. So if I can get everyone centered in that you have 60 seconds and that's it, then the train's moving. And if you weren't paying attention, the train doesn't go, trains don't move backwards. They don't go, oh, snap, my bad. I didn't see that. You still need to get on the train. You were talking to your mom. Let me just move the train back. Never happens, right? The train is going. You need to get that word and definition from a friend. Hey, man, I appreciate that you weren't ready. That's fine. Just ask him when we're done this one, and he'll give you the definition and the thing. So what's happening there is I am not just saying what I'm going to do. I'm doing what I'm going to do. I'm going to preach or practice what I'm preaching, right? The train is moving on. And then the other thing is helping students to really it is it is relational. But look, let me break down why relationships are king. Relationships don't mean you're cool with everyone. They don't mean you're friends with everyone. They don't mean that you get along with everyone. It means that you know who people are and what they need. It means kids understand who you are, where you're coming from, why you're doing what you're doing, and why you're going to hold them accountable to what you're saying you're going to hold them accountable to. It is not about people liking me. It is about me helping students to win. So the other day, one of the ways that I kind of am working on this class is there's a handful of dudes that I noticed that I did move their seats, or they moved their own seat, and I didn't say anything. And I'm not even supposed to do that. And I'm going to be honest on here, like I'm not supposed to do that because of COVID tracing, but like I just changed it on my seating schedule, and now kids sit in a different place. And when I noticed that those kids were doing a good job, I pulled them aside, said, "Yo, you, and you, stay after class with me when the bell rings. I need to talk to you real quick." And then just say, "Listen, I want you to know that I think you're doing a great job. I just think you're doing like such a wonderful job in class." And I appreciate that when I know there's some dudes that are out of pocket and there's a little bit too much madness going on, but like I see what you're doing and I really, really appreciate that. And then it's holding kids to that. It's repeating it every day. Yo, all right, the do now's up there. You only have 30 seconds to get your stuff together. And then we're going to move into the first thing and you're going to have this much time to do it. And then that's it. Then you move on. Then here's what's going to really happen, Hannah. And I'm going to be off this question in 20 seconds. Grades are the answer to everything else, right? So kids are going to look at grades, and your behavior, right? How you're choosing to behave is going to dictate whether you know something, whether you're finding mastery in your content or not. I do not grade kids on behavior. I do grade kids on mastery of content, but poor behavior in the classroom, lack of focus, attention, commitment, that lack of participation leads to a lack of mastery in content. So every Friday going forward, I have in Schoology, I changed it. I have, you can use the one that's on my website. There's a Friday reflection on my website, but I've been using a Google one that students have to tell me, what is your grade? What assignments have you missed this week? What can you do better next week to do well? What did you do well this week that you're proud of yourself for? And is there anything else I need to know about you to help you going forward? And so this is holding a mirror up to, this is what you did this week, and this is the result that you got. You got this answer on the test. You know, these were your grades for your last 5 assignments, whatever it is, however you want to ask it. It's holding a mirror up and then helping students say, like, I'm not holding the mirror up so that you can see how this isn't working. I'm holding the mirror up so that you can be real, so you can be accountable, and so we can figure out next steps for you going forward to be successful. And so that's a little bit of how I would handle that sort of situation. But yeah, damn, I spent a lot of time on that one. Go ahead.
Did.
Sorry. That's such a good, I feel like that's applicable to so many people though also. So
probably, but here's a nice, really easy one. Ms. Gonzalez is asking, where did you get those containers hanging on the pegboard to the right of your head?
Which way is this term? This is an IKEA pegboard. They're really inexpensive, and then you can buy all these different things. So you can buy like these things, and you keep different stuff in them. It just slides right out. So some of them I have eyeballs in some. I have paper clips. I have more eyeballs. I have push pins. You can buy these little shelves. They have like these containers that they just come off. This one has all my hands in it, or a bunch of my hands. They have hooks for it, and it's just really great because it's super easy to install. All you do is like basically screw it to the wall, and then I like everything having a place all the time, and it just looks nice.
She also asked, is that Google Reflection a Google form? What we have on our website is not a Google form, but you're currently using it.
Let me figure out a way. Can you write a note?
Yeah.
And I'll post somewhere my Google form, and if people want it, they can get it from me. No problem.
Okay. Oh my God, jumping around makes me lose track of different things.
Go ahead. I'm gonna play with this hand. If you need a hand, let me know.
Okay, we'll go right here. Miss L, this is a 2-part question. She says, sub teaching for 3 months, 1 month in, we are near the end of the school year. One child in particular teases others, gossips, calls student to leave before my time. Maybe one of the reasons the other's teacher left. He is now having a power struggle with me. with me too. Every time I don't give him his own way, help.
Got it. So this is, Miss L, one of those things that once you start to figure out how to do this, this student is going to show up in your life again, probably many times, right? I have one of these students this year. But the beauty of that is the better you get at dealing with such behaviors, the better you will be in the future. So like it's like once you kind of learn how to deal with it one time, like, I don't know, like if you learn how to put in a ceiling fan, you can, I don't know why that was my example. And you have other ceiling fans that need to be put up in your house. You'll be better at putting those ceiling fans up in your house. That was a weird example. But I would say that for me, it is, look, it's not even about why a student is doing what they're doing, right? Not all the time. Like I'm sure that like everybody is fighting a battle that I know nothing about. I'm sure that student's behavior comes from somewhere. Now, whether they were born like that, or they just became like, something happened to them, some sort of trauma, some sort of like the way they were raised, whatever it was, they're doing this because they're either acting out or because they've won before this behavior is my guess. So for me, it is about talking to that student, holding them behind and saying, listen, here's what I'm seeing in class. And I need to know if there's anything, what I can do to help you find success, because the behaviors that I'm seeing in class right now don't seem to be bringing you success and will continue to not bring you success. And so I need to know if there's anything I can do, because what I need you to know more than anything is that I care about you, that I want you to do well, and that your success is the only thing I care about. But so it is, and then defining what success looks like. Like what does success look like in your classroom? Does it look like getting good grades? Does it look like learning what you need to learn so you can get on to the next grade? Does it mean helping you to get to college? Does it mean helping you to get to high school? Whatever that learning to read, like what is that success look like? Because what that success does not look is a successful class. A successful class is not a class in which every kid is happy. A successful class is a class that every kid is challenged and every kid is working their way towards where the goal of the class is. So when you look at your standards, it's like moving to that place. Now, a successful class is also you having a voice, you being able to push back, you being able to find your voice, to speak your truth, to have conversations sometimes that are difficult with your teacher. Like that, I'm all down for. But it doesn't mean a kid's going to be happy all the time, because stuff's hard, and because not everyone likes geography or geology or algebra or composition. So once you kind of outline that and you put it into the kid's hands, what you're doing is giving that child a voice and then reminding them of that. Like I want you to have a voice in class. I want you to be able to speak back, but it has to be during appropriate times. And that's a whole nother conversation, but that's where you start. I think then it is creating an outline of what needs to be done by when and what will be accepted and won't be accepted. So, and why. So a kid gossips all the time. A kid is teasing or bullying other people. All right, let me let you know why you're not allowed to do that. So this is what I'm seeing, and this is what's happening. This is why you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to do that because this class isn't just about you. It's about the community. That what we're doing here is a communal thing. And when you disrupt the community, when you disrupt people by making them feel less than, when you disrupt them by saying rude things or by doing things that are not kind, then what you're doing is kind of ruining this for other people. And that can't happen because I'm everyone's teacher. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to say, like, there's a reminder, maybe there's a second reminder, third time, we got to go. We got to call someone down. We got to be a very clear path. What needs to be successful and very clear path. If you're choosing this other way, this is the path that's going to lead you down. And then is the hard part. You have to stick with it. You have to do the thing you said you were going to do. Even if it's uncomfortable to call mom, even send an email. Even if it's uncomfortable to read the response email from mom, you got to do it anyway. Even if the kid says, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. You did it 3 times. We got to move on with the situation. And then but you can never I think, like, I might be wrong. Somebody else might have a different answer. I think it's about not letting kids see that you're actually angry. And then following up with other teachers, any other teacher that has that kid, like if they have multiple classes during the day, and even if those are just like specials, like it's the art teacher, the extra science teacher, the gym teacher, what are we doing with this child to help them find success? And what are we doing to help them be accountable for the things that they are doing in class? It has to be a group activity. And so sometimes admin's really great to pull into that. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes it's special services. Sometimes it's a social worker. Sometimes it's parents. But it's about figuring out who that team is going to be and then really holding that kid to that, but in a way that doesn't look like you're picking on them because you're not getting angry. You're going, nope, you didn't meet the requirements of what we were talking about. And so now I'm going to have to ask you to step into the hallway because you can't not do work and then turn around and smack a kid in the face. Happened to my class the other day. That's exactly how I said it to the student. I'm finding that you're not finding success in class right now because you were sitting on the desk, you refused to do work, and then you turned around when I asked you to sit down in the chair and do the assignment in front of you. You instead smacked the child in the face. Now that's not finding success in class. And then just like when you say it like that, like dudes are just like, what? Like you're not like you do this and then you do this and then you do this. It's like keeping it cool. So that's how I ran that the other day. What you got?
Next question from Jacob. He said tips for leaving students work for a sub.
I think making it as asynchronous as possible, Jacob. So like what you don't want to do is have the sub have to do much. I try to have the sub not have to do anything except for hand things out. I give incredibly detailed instructions. And sometimes I know friends at school that will create videos for students. So it's like, hey, I'm not here today. Here's exactly what I need you to do. This is what you'll be required to turn in tomorrow or at the end of the period or whatever. These are the rules for the period. And so you're not leaving anything up to get lost in translation. You're creating something. And even if that's audio. And so it's one of the cool things that I did last year when I was out multiple times is in Schoology. And I don't know if Google Classroom has the same thing, but I'm sure different platforms have different versions or a way to integrate it. I would just make a recording of, hey gang, here's what's going on today. Today, you're going to read this particular article. You're going to answer these questions. And this is why we're doing this particular activity. At the end, when you're finished, this is how you're going to turn it in or what you're going to do. When I come in tomorrow, this is what I need to see and be able to know that you did it. And then this is what we're going to do. Like, this is how this is going to turn into part of the work for tomorrow. So you need to make sure this is done so we can do this thing tomorrow. I really hope that you have a great day. You know that I hate when I miss school and don't see you guys. So I just hope that your day is great. Don't do drugs or something. I always say something ridiculous at the end. And then that is a good way to make sure that like the sub knows exactly what's going on. So they're not like reading your instructions and trying to figure it out, missing some things. The kids are like unsure. It's just clear, straightforward, and it's awesome. What you got there,
All right,
bud?
our next question comes from Sean. How do you handle various worldviews of children in your class as it affects their behavior while still respecting their beliefs?
Sean,
That's a great question.
It's a great question. And it's hard on here is your wording is limited. So like
It is, yes.
I would say, affecting your, oh gosh.
Respecting their beliefs.
I'd say, look, man, Sean, I would. This is a question I'd love to have an example of. However, I would say that my only classroom rule is give respect, get respect. So you can believe anything you want. I don't care what it is. Like that's on you, and that's your life to live. So you don't believe that. I don't know. You don't believe in gay marriage. You don't believe in women's rights. You believe that men should like are like women are subservient to men. Like, bro, like I don't know how you were raised. I don't know where you came from. I don't know what the people that brought you up are doing or thinking or feeling or acting. Or maybe politics plays into that. Maybe religion plays into that. But what I'm saying is in this classroom, I'm not trying to hold you. I'm not trying to push you or indoctrinate you or any of that stuff. I'm just saying you got to keep it cool. And if you can't keep it cool, then we have an issue because that's what we're doing here. Because what we're doing in the classroom is trying to challenge one another. You want to challenge someone? Game on. Do it. You got an opposing viewpoint. As long as you can say it and you can be cool, and you can say it respectfully, you can tell someone respectfully that like, and I'm going for like the big, so, we all know what like the big things are, like, that let's say you have a problem with someone because of how they look, because of who the kind of people that they like, because of the way that they dress, because of the music they listen to. I don't care. You can say it respectfully though. And I think that the service that this is doing, Sean, is that currently, like every time I feel like a movie announcer every time I say this, in a world where there's so many polarizing viewpoints on so many different things, I think that's fine. Like, it's fine, right? But it is, can we communicate with respect to one another and to really learn how to listen and learn how to speak back? That to me is everything, because when you watch, whether it's a political debate, whether it's people in the news, whether it's, I don't know, two kids in your classroom talking to one another. And when you can meet someone with curiosity instead of meeting someone with your facts, with your agenda, and saying, that's curious that you think that. I'm curious as to why. And then when they're done speaking and you've listened to it and internalized it, you can speak back to that. That creates a conversation that's actually worth something. And when we can help students do that, then we help students to win. We help students to, like, then they can agree to disagree, but like, we're just keeping it cool. If you can't be cool, then we have to take this to the next level, which is parents, administration, other teachers, meetings. There's other things that need to happen then, because we're not just being cool about it.
Let's see if we can help out our good friend Steph. She says, asking, how do you meal plan for your lunch? Acting single parent here, barely able to make dinner at night, tired of boring sandwiches and leftovers.
Steph, I ate the same exact thing for lunch every single day of basically elementary, middle, and high school, which was a version of either a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with I'm from Philly, so we have Tasty Cakes. If you don't know what that is, you can Google it. And milk every day, chocolate milk every. No iced tea. This is elementary, Reynolds.
Wait, she's asking for lunch help.
No, like, so I'm just saying that
out.
Breakfast and lunch, I find that most people eat the same thing, right? Like, even when I was at home, like, what do we have? Bacon and eggs every single morning, or bacon or sausage and eggs every single morning. Sometimes we sprinkle a little magic and it's in a tortilla. Other times you're just eating it out of a bowl, right? Mm-hmm. But it's some version of that, right? Lunch is the same thing. I find that I don't get emotionally attached to what I'm having for lunch. So for breakfast, I do, this is my eating. I wake up in the morning, I have a glass of water. Then I have 2 small cups of coffee, which could just be 1 normal cup of coffee, but I really like 2 small versions instead. And I like drinking out of the mug that has me with a unicorn head on it and hugging my daughter. Anyway, my wife makes me a disgusting smoothie that is made with kale and berries and collagen, athletic greens, and some other.
That's it.
That's it. All right. So it tastes like sadness. But I take that to school in a mason jar, so I look like a hippie, and I'm going to take my shoes off at any given moment. Then I go to school and I buy one of those prepackaged salads that they have at like damn near everywhere now. That Target even has them now, which I don't like because there's a lot of waste product in it and it's not very environmentally conscious. But I haven't figured out a way. Like, I don't feel like packing a salad, so until I figure something else out, Earth, I apologize. And I take a protein bar. I eat those RX sea salt and chocolate bars every day. And that's it. That's all I eat. So I drink the smoothie as soon as I get to school. I drink an enormous amount of water while I'm at school all day. I eat a salad and I eat a protein bar. And then when we come home, we do, what the hell do we do? HelloFresh is how we do dinner. I pick them out every Sunday. They show up the next week on Sunday morning. And then we make those 4 out of 5 days of the week so that we never have to figure out what's for dinner. We never have to go. We have to grocery shop for very little stuff. And then even my grocery shopping is almost completely done online, and I just go pick up my groceries. That maximizes my time. It takes away the choice piece. And some HelloFreshes my kids don't get down with, but I just substitute out stuff. So Marley hates Brussels sprouts.
That they don't like in HelloFresh. I would say, Steph, there are so many meal companies. There are ones that are less expensive even than HelloFresh, and there's some that are more expensive than HelloFresh. But whatever you can fit into your budget for, even if it's 2 or 3 nights a week, you will you will thank yourself. It's really the best thing that we've ever done. It's the most helpful thing for me as a mom that's very busy. Like, I just don't have to think or shop for like 4 dinners out of the week. And I know they're taken care of. And that's literally, even when I'm super tired, you can just follow it's so easy to follow the directions. It's never that big of a deal, I find. So if you want to gift yourself something during this season where like life is really hard, I would look into a meal.
Do we have any free
plan.
meals?
I do. If you want a free meal plan, you can.
Steph, shoot me an email. I'm going to give you the free meal.
I've got a couple free boxes I can share with people.
So they'll
anyone
send
else that's interested, you can email us and I'll send it to you.
Yeah, there you
go.
Edie's going, no, that's a lot of emails.
All right, I only have like 3 or 4, so the first 3 or 4 people. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me
and I think with that too, real quick, parent tip, you can beef them up too. So if they don't give you enough pasta, just buy an extra box of pasta. You can beef it up. So if you have teenagers like we do and they're endless pits of food, you can just dump some more in.
Well, my sister just did that. She signed up and got the meal for like 2 nights a week, but she just beefs up and then it's leftovers and
so like if you're making burgers, just buy a couple extra burgers, but then you can put all their goodness on top of it and stuff like that too.
But that's like meal planning on top of meal planning. You're trying to not meal plan.
Yeah.
Hey, as the cooker and as the meal planner, I'm like, that's kind of helpful, but not really.
The cooker?
Yes. Okay, stop. Our next question comes from Christy. She says, I have been teaching for 20 plus years. This year, I am having difficulty maintaining my home plus daughter's 2nd grade year and my teaching. Any advice?
Christy, this is exactly my life right now where I am. Look, if I'm real transparent, I will say that Real Rap with Reynolds is in a season where I am being blessed with so much opportunity from brands that I have to I teach, I come home, and then trying to do that work all night and be with my family and just reset from the day. It's a lot to juggle. I'm in a little mini season right now where I'm having a hard time actually doing that, but I'll tell you what helps. Right. So I haven't figured it out right now. Like this year's been unlike any other similar. Like I've been in the classroom for 16 years. And I'm really having a moment right now. So here's how I'm dealing with that. I have to get up early. I have to. I know that everyone hates that answer. I just don't care. Like it's the only thing for me that I can do. I don't even wake up as early as I used to. I wake up at 5:45, and the night before I grind. So we grind our coffee and do it in a French press. I grind my coffee. The water's already in the. I'm looking over there, because I can see it from here. In the tea kettle. My towel is out. I shower the night before. My clothes are all set out. What I'm trying to do is minimize the amount of decisions I need to make in the morning. I just wake up and I just get the tasks done. And so my morning is there to help me fill up. I am not watching news. I am not listening to anything that's angry. I will listen to a podcast that's funny or thought-provoking. So I've really been enjoying Smartless lately. Is my it's just really funny and it's really smart and it just makes me feel good on my way to school. Or I'm listening to music that gets me there. I have not eaten lunch with students at all this year. Now, part that in the beginning of the year was because of COVID. Right now, it's because I literally have no other time. There's so many people that are so upset at school that
You're the go-to person.
I am. I'm one of the go-to people. That I have to have space for myself. I also, it feels like an enormous expense to me, but I spend $3.25 every single day to go to Dunkin' Donuts in the middle of the day just to get an iced coffee with just cream, no sugar, because I don't want to mess with my levels. And I do that every day as well as a way to get out of the building for 10 minutes, call my wife, check in with her, get something delicious, feel the sun on my face, and then I go back to school. And then it is about only doing what I can get done in the time that I have. I bring no school work home. None. Because when I'm home, I want to be home. So with that, playing video games with my kids, watching movies with my kids, taking a walk with my wife and the dog, whatever it is, I'm constantly trying to find things that fill me up, right? And right now, I'm feeling a little disproportionate. Like the things that are draining me are more than the things that are filling me up. I'm trying to figure out how do I amp this up. So for instance, every Saturday for the last 4 weeks, my wife and I have gone out to every fall festival that we can find, even the crappy ones.
We just Google them and go wherever Google tells us.
Fall festival near me. My kids don't want to go anywhere on Saturday because they're allowed in our house unlimited tech on Saturdays. So they literally go from playing Minecraft, hanging out with friends, being on TikTok, playing Minecraft, hanging out with friends, being on TikTok. This is the cycle that we live in right now. So the wife and I, we just go out and have like beers at noon and eat some barbecue, or yesterday we had some tacos at a garden place or like a farmer's market that we found and stuff that was like jamming. We go stop and get coffees places. We'll like just go to Target for a little while and just like mill around. But like we are doing things that like they fill you up. You feel better. You feel good, man. And so that's what I'm trying to do is how like putting it on the calendar, feel good things. So Tuesday night, I think I'm taking off on Tuesday. That means tomorrow night I want to go see the new Venom movie with Brody. So I'm Jenai. Marley doesn't want to see it, but so we'll go see that, and then I'll take the whole day off on Tuesday and try and do things that I can fill myself up with. It's not a day without work. It's a day with work that is going to move me forward to make me feel better.
Amen. Sorry.
It's all right. It's the new version, jumping around.
I know. Let's go here. How do you deal with students being quarantined and not doing any work online?
That's a great question. So at our school, we are given a list of kids that are quarantining. However, we are not given a list of children that are actually sick. If you're actually sick, right, if you have COVID and you feel like you're going to die, then don't do the work. That's the last thing I want you to do. I want you to rest and get better. For kids that are not showing symptoms, for kids that are taking advantage of the system, there is no way to tell if they are doing it or not because they're sick or they're not sick or what's going on. I would put that back on the school and say, we need some transparency. Like on some level, what are we doing about students that are not doing work because they are at home? And then I think if you don't get a satisfactory answer there, it's about contacting home to the parents that you can, or having your grade level chair or someone do this and say, hey, we're just checking in on so-and-so. They haven't done any work. Not sure what to expect. Could you just give us a sense of like what's going on? So, because you can't sit there and talk about like everyone's sickness and stuff like that. It's like a HIPAA violation. But like, it's about trying to gain some clarity and get direction from your school. I'll say this again. I said it last week, right? I'm going to say it again because it's such a great question. Okay. Not everything is your responsibility. Some things are the responsibility of the school, whether it's the curriculum director, whether it's the social worker, whether it's the school nurse, whether it's the school administration. It is about going to the people that make those decisions and saying, hey, this is broken. We need it fixed. If there's garbage all over the place in the hallway, you could pick that up, or you could tell the custodians and have them fix it. You could change a trash can bag, and that's not even a bad thing sometimes. Sometimes it's just like we're chipping in because we're all in this together. But it's like there's someone to do that. If the furnace needs a new filter at the school, I don't fix it. I go to the guy and go, hey, man, my room smells like crap. Could you please, and it's coming from the air filter. Maybe we could take care of that situation. If the window breaks in my room, I don't come into school with a drill or a screwdriver and try and fix it. I tell who it is that needs to fix it to please fix it. I ask them kindly with a smile on my face and then wait for my response. Then I document that thing. So like, that's why I like sending emails instead of asking people verbally, because they can say they forgot or they can misconstrue it or something along those lines. It's about putting in, documenting it, and then asking. And so that's what I do. I would ask the people that are in charge and see what you're supposed to do. What you got, buddy?
John Fox is asking, want to move to a completely different part of the country, but it's difficult finding a teaching job while being far away. Do you think I need to just move, then job search when physically there?
That's a great question. I would do, so John, what I would do first, I'm going to be honest with you, bro. I'd go in the Facebook group and I'd see if there's anybody in the Facebook group that lives in the place where you're looking to get a job.
That's great.
To see like, hey, where, like, what's the best way to find a job? So I know like certain states, who was that? We did a thing. I did a talk for a company in California once, and I was talking to the California teachers, and they were like, oh yeah, if you want to find a teaching job, like this is the thing.
It's particular like website for all for California educators.
Yeah, and it's like if you're finding a job in California, like you use this program to do it. And I never even heard of that in my life. We don't have anything like that in New Jersey or Philadelphia. So for me, it's about who you know. So reaching out on Facebook, finding out like through our group, seeing who teaches where, seeing if anyone has an answer, and they might be able to put you on to something that we would not be able to. And then, you know, if you can look for a job now, I just feel like I'd rather move and have some sense of where I'm going and what I'm going to do than because the anxiety of moving and getting all your stuff together and packing up your family and then getting to that place, setting up a new home, that's enough with all the other things like bank accounts and other things of that nature that you have to like set everything up, your Wi-Fi and everything else, to instead be able to just know where you're going to work feels better to me. But I would start by asking questions and then finding people in that area that might be able to help you. Yeah.
Okay, our next question is from Dominique. We are implementing standard-based grading, and I'm struggling with how to encourage effort and take ownership of their own learning when there is no grade holding them accountable. Any advice?
So, man, it's such a good question, right? So, Dominique, I used to do, I think I'm saying that right too. I apologize. I'm so, like, if you don't know, if you've never watched this before, when certain, like when names have too many vowels, when words have too many vowels in them, my brain just goes, it's just like, ooh. That was a weird thing to do. But anyway, I think, so I used to grade students on behavior because you find that like when students behave better, meaning they are being willing participants in the classroom, and you say points to them. So if you say, hey man, if you do that again, I'm going to have to take off a point for whatever reason, right? Probably because they've been in, you know, it's been ingrained in them forever that losing points is bad. Even when I didn't even take points off, I just say it. I just go like, you're about to lose a point if you do that again. And it doesn't even mean anything. I just like, but kids respond. So I'm trying to, it's like the least, it's the most effective way, like with the, I don't know, it just makes things easier. But now I don't do that. Here's what I do. I grade kids. I do give participation grades, and that's different for everyone because some kids participate more quietly than others. Some kids will participate if we're doing a game and they have to hold something up, but they don't want to say something. Some kids will get participation because they are always answering questions and they give thoughtful responses to things. Other kids, I give participation because they're handing things out in the classroom, like they're being a participant, they're helping someone do something, they're helping to explain something to another student. These are participation grades. But outside of that, I find that it is, you know, what you're doing is, I said this a little earlier, it is mastery of your, what we're really grading for is mastery in any particular content area, right? And so when we're not doing that, then we're grading kids on behavior. And there's a lot of research, and we don't have to go into this whole thing now, where like students, like a lot of like Black and brown boys fail because of behavior and not because it has nothing to do with their mastery or of content. It has to do with behavior. So kids are getting kicked out of class and things of that nature. So, but what I'm trying to do is help students to understand that your behavior, how you hold yourself, your character, when you show up to class, are you ready? Are you willing? And are you able to do the work? That has a direct line that's connected to, very often anyway, to the grades you have in class. Now, some kids can act out of pocket in class and still get good grades. And I think that that's a slightly different conversation. Those students need to find more of a challenge that they do need to focus in, and they are being challenged so that they don't have time to screw around. They have only time to get done what needs to get done. And I think that's better for them. But for those kids that are failing, and you can't hold them to a behavioral thing or grade on behavior, I think what you're doing is every week you're having kids reflect on what their grades are, what they got on assignments, what they passed, what they didn't pass, what they handed in, what they didn't hand in. And when kids are reflecting on that and they're seeing that you have a 62 in a class, but you also didn't hand stuff in. Now it's like, why didn't you hand that stuff in? Did you forget, or were you not paying attention? Were you screwing around in class, or were you struggling on it? Then this becomes a conversation as to, like, it's letting kids show that they have the power. This is ultimately you. This is not a just me thing, right? This has to be a willing partnership between you and I. that you show up and I will try to create the greatest, most dynamic, most fun, most amusing, most interesting class that you could possibly imagine. But I need you to show up and be a willing participant in what we are doing here. And if you don't like what we're doing, speak to me. Like, come speak your truth and let's have that conversation. But I think when we have kids reflect on what they're doing, we're helping them to do a better job. And then look, I would just start making phone calls home, or I like to do emails home. I don't like doing phone calls home. They take way too long. It takes up too much time. And it gives, I think, an email allows parents to process. What's the matter?
The dog farted.
The dog's farting.
He's right under me.
So that's what my wife does when she really farts, and then she doesn't want everyone to know. No, I'm just playing. So it's about like how I think holding kids accountable with regard to that. So that I hope that helps. I might have missed the mark on that question, but I think that should help anyway.
Let's go to Keely, who has a great name because that's Keely's name on what's our show?
What show?
Come on.
Oh, Ted Lasso?
Yes.
Yeah, good work.
Yay. Okay, just asking any advice for considering changing grade levels from middle school to high school, trying to decide what fits my strengths and goals best.
I think the biggest difference I see is that, for our ninth graders, when they come in, they are a wacky bunch all the time. They're so dorky. And they don't even know it. They just even the cool kids are kind of like cool, but like in a dorky way. And so there's something magical that happens in the summer of 10th grade where kids really grow and mature, and they are less wacky to the point where they will come back and see my current ninth graders and go, yo, what's up with the ninth graders this year? Like, we never did stuff like that. Oh no, you did. All kids do this. It is the thing that I have to deal with every single year, where you are like a puppy, and then your puppy grew up a little bit, and then the seniors look back at the freshmen and they go, yo, we never did that. I'm like, bro, you 100% acted like this. Let me bring back some memories for you to remind you of how you used to be. So it's stuff like that. So I find that if you can handle that middle school vibe, that like squirreliness, ninth grade is going to be better than that, but it won't be 10th, 11th, 12th grade. I find that for me, I like ninth grade because they are a little bit wacky. They'll still do weird stuff that I want to do. 12th grade, I find, is a whole lot more like serious conversations. Kids can understand things. Kids can go places with you that they couldn't go in ninth grade. There's a whole lot more life experience there. But there is potentially a lot of apathy because of high school has really sucked for you. And now you're a senior in high school. It's like, well, what are you going to do now? Like now it's like you're just this has been going too long. So it's about trying to figure that out too. Like junior year is very stressful because of SATs and things like that. And then 10th grade year is like this, I don't know, it's like the middle child of high school. Like you feel like, does this even matter? Like I'm 2 years in and there's so much more time to go. Even though all of us are going, bro, you only got 2 years. Like, come on, school's going to be over. And that's like 5 minutes in real life. What you got, dude?
Miss J's Kid Vids
Uh-oh.
is asking.
Is that a YouTube channel?
Is anyone else suffering from COVID fatigue? I feel like I keep having to sacrifice in my personal and professional life. Any encouragement?
I think back to what I said. I'm exhausted. I mean, I'm exhausted from 1,000 things, right? I'm exhausted from my nose is too big to wear a mask. I feel like I'm going to start chafing right here. It sucks. You got to talk so much louder because you got the mask on and no one can hear. Like there have been 2 times this year where I've pulled down my mask and said something louder to the class because they were out of control and I needed to get them back. And my voice, I felt like it was booming. I was just it felt like someone just handed me a microphone. It was like, damn, this is unbelievable. So, it's about doing that. And I would say it's about I do less in the classroom this year. I just do. I just am I
think people always think that that's like a dig on them as a teacher or the ability. It's just not. I think you have to just ebb and flow with what your year has and who your students are, because every year it's going to be different. And if your admin changes, you have such severe and nobody knows this online, but like your school is a completely different place than what it was when you started YouTube. And that transition for the last few years has been so daunting. But this year, especially, I just think people don't want to give themselves the permission to do less and think that they feel guilty for not doing less instead of feeling like, no, that's actually doing something, because doing less for in the classroom, but I need to fill myself up so I can be the better teacher.
Yeah.
It's just, I wish more people would really listen to that. And because from what I read in our Facebook group to everywhere, teachers are just exhausted, and their admin doesn't seem like they're giving anybody any more of what they actually need. They're just piling more crap on teachers. I just wish teachers would do less to cut themselves a break.
Yeah. But the problem is not everyone has the ability to do that, right? So like if your school has a scripted curriculum, or you're told every day like what next mile marker you need to get to so that you can meet expectations, it's about finding loopholes. It's about finding ways to get around that. It's about finding ways to just like to not do everything. So I have a friend, I'm not going to say their name. So if they do watch this, I didn't want to put this out, but they said, the friend I was telling you about the other day that went back to therapy, and their therapist was like, why don't you just not do everything? And they were like, what? And they were like, yeah, not everybody does everything. And I think that teachers have this uncanny ability. And I know I certainly do as well. Like, I want to be the best. Like, I want to do the greatest job. But when they keep like, it's like I climbed to the top of the mountain, and then they were like, no, we made the mountain a little taller. We extended it a little bit. It's like someone's holding the finish line in front of me, and they just keep pulling. Come on. It's like a carrot on a string. Like, I'm never going to get it. So I think it is giving yourself, like, it's figuring out ways to build in joy in your day, and then taking some of the workload off. So getting very clear on your amount of time for prep, getting very clear on your amount of time for grading, getting very clear on student expectations, things like that. It's the only thing that like, those are some of the things that are working for me this year. Cause I'm tired, man. I'm tired of being tired too. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
You can answer this last question before you go, so you can go rest. Chad is asking, I want to take a personal day to recharge, but I know I won't have a sub. We have a major sub shortage in Texas. Last Friday, we had 24 unfilled sub positions.
Love this question. Let me bang this one out. First of all, great profile picture there, Chad Anderson. Look, our school does this thing. We used to have subs. Now instead, if we're not there, our friends, the other people that work in the building, like the other teachers, have to do what's called a coverage, right? So that plan, right? And I don't know if this is strategic or not. Some schools, maybe it is. I don't know. That plan only does one thing. It makes you go to school when you don't want to, because you feel bad that your friends are going to have to cover your class. And then we are caused to cover more classes because we took a day off. You can expect you're going to have coverages going forward. This is not our problem. The shortage of teachers is not our problem. The shortage of subs is not our problem. That is the problem of the leadership. Leadership got into the job of leadership so they could lead. Let them handle the problems that they have. If I hire a plumber to do work at my house, I don't go, hey man, are you having a really hard time in there? Need me to just help you out? No, I hired you. You're the plumber. Do the plumbing. And you don't have to be like mean about it, but it is knowing that if you need a day off, if Chad Anderson needs a day to just do what he wants, to catch up on work, to just chill, to get stuff done in his house, whatever you want a day, they are called personal days because they're personal and because we don't have to have a reason for taking them off. They're not sick. Do whatever you want and then take off that day, because what it's going to allow you to do is fill up. You're coming back better. We should force teachers to take personal days. No, I don't know. That was a bit of a strong statement. But we should strongly encourage teachers to take all of their personal days every year, because it's only going to make them better in school. So do I feel bad about the potential of taking off on Tuesday? Yes. I already feel some type of way about it. And there's all the friggin' work you got to do on the front end to be able to take off that day anyway, right? But it is like, that is the school's problem. And if teachers that are covering classes don't like it, I raise a stink about it every single time. If I get a coverage, the 1 week I had this school year, I only have 2 periods a day that I can get stuff done. And 3 times that week I had to cover someone else's class, which means I'm not getting stuff done because I'm watching a class, and some of those are easy and some of them are not, but it just adds another thing on it. I already do 5 classes a day and an after school club that I have to lead. Now you're going to add another class that's 7 periods a day of something I have to do, bro. So I go to the principal. I go, bro, this is the last one I'm doing this week. This is how I roll. Doesn't mean that's how you have to roll. I'm not doing another coverage this week. I already did one. Do not give me another one because I'm not going to it. Just be prepared, right? This is how I roll. Again, not the way I suggest other people roll. But the reason I'm doing that is because a better solution needs to happen. If you want me to be a part of that conversation, I'd love to be a part of that conversation because I love the people I work with. I want my students to have meaningful classes even when teachers aren't here, but I don't think it should come at the loss of teachers to make sure that something is being taken care of. So you all need to figure out who we're hiring, how we're hiring, when we're hiring, and what we're doing. Is not my problem. If you want me to be a part of the conversation, I'm down with it. But
I even think who, what, and who we're hiring, but like, how about there's a problem? There's a shortage for a reason right now. And maybe we need to look at that. Maybe the admin and the leaders need to actually lead in schools instead of just manage, because they don't. I
told my school that they need to hire grandparents. This is what we need to do. So like one of the problems we have at school is like there's never anyone in the hallways to like help with students. And like if there's a problem, it's constantly empty. I'm like, what you need to do is get some grandmoms up here, right? Even if it's just during lunch periods, you pay those grandmoms $25 an hour to stand there. No one's going to diss a grandmom. No one's going to talk back to a grandmom. That grandmom's just going to look at you and you're going to go, my bad. I shouldn't have cursed. I shouldn't have done the thing that I was doing. I will be better now. That's it. I'm going to start a grandma thing. Grandma subs. That's all they do. It's just come in and
kids would be behaving for
rain knowledge.
Some of them will, some won't.
Yeah, but grandmas can handle it.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean? And not even parents, because parents are still too new. We're still too new with this. That's why people are better grandparents a lot of times than they are parents. So it's like, just bring them grandmas up there and they'll just be raining down knowledge and fire. It'll be great. All right. With that being said, I am going to enjoy the rest of my Sunday. I don't even know what the hell I'm going to do right now. I just finished my last puzzle. So that's what I do because I'm old and I do puzzles on the weekend.
It's like your stress relief.
It is. I love it.
Bertie yelled, he goes, don't buy Dad any more puzzles. And I go, I can't help it. This year I go, the man needs an outlet. I've done a lot of puzzles this year. So look, this week I'm gonna keep you guys involved in this conversation. I'm going to figure out what I need to be doing. I'm going to work on this. My thought is I'm going to go to school tomorrow, but I'm going to take off on Tuesday. That means tomorrow night I'm going to go see the new Venom movie since I know that I have off on Tuesday. I'm going to enjoy my day on Tuesday, but I'm going to do work and figure out on my end what I can do to do better this school year with business and with school. And then have that night off on Tuesday, roll back into school on Wednesday, and finish out my week strong. And so I implore you to do something similar. Do something for yourself. Pour into yourself that you can pour into others. Because it really and I think to be real honest with you, it's not equal parts. Don't pour, fill your gas tank up to 100 and then you can give 100. I think that you have to double what you're putting into yourself. This is what I'm really feeling lately, is you have to double what you're putting into you so you can give to other people. You can't go 100% for 100% all the time. Go 100% on you, 50% on others, or change it out. I don't know. I don't do math for a reason, people. That's why I teach English. I hope that you have a really wonderful week. I'll see you next week, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bring a friend, please, because look, we're all trying to get through this together. That's it, gang. Peace. Oh, I was going to hit the thing and then didn't do it, and then